Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Anna Cachet. I am 22 years old, a content creator and college student. On this channel I do daily vlogs, travel vlogs, and I just like to have a good time. So if you like to have a good time, click that subscribe button down below and turn on those post notifications to be notified every time that I post. Y'all, I recently got hired at another job. So you know what that means? That means we get to talk about my last job. So if you guys are new here, I do a lot of job content. A lot of people come to my channel because of my job content, because I worked well over, now I want to say 10 jobs, and I'm only 22. But I personally believe in, like, if it no longer suits you or serves you, move on. So that's why I just have so much job content to upload and post about. But I also like to help other people on their journey of finding what suits them, finding their career, finding their passions. So hopefully this content helps someone out there in deciphering whether or not they want to work for a certain organization or a certain type of position. But yeah, I just like to give you guys an inside scoop, give you guys a tea on what my experience is like, and do with it as you will. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about my experience working as a dental receptionist. Let's get into it. So I worked as a dental receptionist from May of 2023 until January of this year. And I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to give any establishment names because for my privacy protection as well as theirs. But I worked at a local dentist in Buffalo, and I'm gonna break that down for you. So first and foremost, I got hired through Indeed. I know a lot of people are discouraged from applying to Indeed right now because there's a rumor going around that they throw out applications. I don't know how true that is, but I'm not gonna cap. With all the jobs they applied to, only like 2 hit me back, and it definitely feels like people aren't even seeing these applications or getting these applications. It's very interesting. But I did get a call back from her like the day after I applied to that position, and prior to that I applied to another dental position. I went in for an interview for that one, but I hadn't heard back anything. And honestly, she was mostly looking for my availability and like my schedule, because she said it's a pretty demanding job and she needed me to be available pretty much Monday through Friday. That was her biggest concern. And honestly, because she didn't ask a lot of questions, I guess her vetting process was more so action speaks louder than words. So I actually had a second interview, which was a working interview. I had never had one before, and it's basically you just go in for part of the shift and you kind of do what you would normally do if you got hired, and it kind of gives them an idea of like what to expect from you. So I had a working interview on like one random Wednesday, and it was 4 hours long. It was kind of chill for the first hour or two because it's like you're still new, you don't know anything. But once I got the hang of stuff, like I caught on pretty quickly. She liked that, and of course I ended up getting the job. Time wise, this job required me to work. She was really looking for someone more full-time, but let's be real here, I'm still in school. So during the time I got hired, my semester was just ending, so I was able to give her that full time. I think I worked like 32 to 36 hours a week. I know I got off early on Wednesdays and Fridays, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I was working from open to close. And I mean, I was working open to close Wednesday and Friday as well, but that was like half days. A lot of dentists have like a half a day on Friday, or like, you know, a lot of dentists aren't open on the weekends, which I kind of like. Like, the schedule gave me structure, gave me routine. During the school semester, I did have a lot of classes, and she was willing to work with me, like be very flexible. When I say very flexible, I mean I could come in for 2.5 hours. I could come in for 3 hours. I could work a full shift if I wanted to. Like, she kind of let me do my thing, and that's because I really gave a lot to this company. There was a time when I was doing the work of 2 people for the pay of 1 because we were short-staffed. She said it wouldn't be long, and it wasn't. It was like either 2 weeks to a month, somewhere in between there. But I was working by myself, and I caught on very quickly. I was training other people a little bit here and there. So, you know, me asking can I kind of be flexible during the school semester wasn't a big issue for her. And during breaks, I would bring it back up to full time. So that was, you know, depending on the location you work at, depends on how your, you know, manager or owner is. Ooh, owner is crazy. Depending on which location you work at, depends on how like the manager is. But she was pretty flexible about the time because she knew I was a great worker at the end of the day. So to get into like what I was doing during that time, my like daily duties and tasks and whatever, I again was hired as a dental receptionist. So I did things like filing and bookkeeping. I also did scheduling appointments. So like for people that would just come in, I would get them situated, have them sign in, and kind of just, you know, do all the paperwork and stuff. Additionally, I did do things like insurance payments and patient payments. I processed all of that. That was like my main duty, is processing payments, which is super fun, honestly. I didn't mind it because as much as she didn't like it, she hated you couldn't use your phone. But sometimes I'll put a little AirPod in, you know, put my little hair down, and I would get to work. Like, I didn't make any mistakes to double check my work. Like, as long as you're like that, you can do stuff like that. You can get away with stuff like that. But if you're not like that, if you can't focus on music or something else in the background, like I listen to podcasts sometimes, then don't do it. But I was pretty good about that, got that out the way. We also did have little chores at the end of the night, every night. Depending on the day, she switched around like who would be responsible for what. But it'll be things like cleaning the toilet and taking out the trash and vacuuming the floor. Because I don't think we had like an on-call janitorial staff, so it's just us, which kind of gets gross because it is a dentist. So if you have a aversion to blood or teeth or bodily fluids, then it wouldn't be a good position for you. But honestly, once I kind of like looked over that, and we wear masks every day, like even though we're out of, you know, COVID's still out there, but even though it's not like heavily on the rise, it is a dentist. It's still like a medical or health facility, so we wore masks every day, and we wear gloves often if we were touching anything to do with patients. Like day to day, I was just doing a lot of the bookkeeping stuff, a lot of the clerical stuff. But that's why there's a difference when you're looking on websites. For this particular position, you want to look for the receptionist portion, because if you apply for like a dental assistant position, which is what one of my coworkers applied for, you might be taking on a little bit more than you can chew. And when I say that, I mean my particular job was literally solely responsible for clerical work. I didn't sign up for anything dentist related, but my coworker did, and she was under the impression that it was just going to be desk work, but she ended up having to do things like assist the head dentist while she did procedures. So she would be responsible for like cleaning tools, setting up the room. Occasionally they would start letting her do things like x-rays and things like that. But if you had no training in it, you will just get thrown to the wolves. You will just learn how to clean different instruments and how to clean rooms, and like it's super nasty. But that's why it's so important to look for that distinction in receptionist versus assistant. And don't be afraid to ask questions like, you know, what would this require me to do? Would I have to, you know, deal with bodily fluids, because let's be real here, a lot of people aren't trained for that stuff and they get pushed into it anyways, which is kind of messed up. But yeah, it honestly depends on where you are. But at the particular place that I was at, the head dentist, which if you're watching this, there's no beef, I'm just being real here. The head dentist, she was very controlling. She liked things her way. She liked everything done like the way that she knew it to be, even if her ways were like outdated. So if I found a quicker solution to something, she would have still done her way. And a lot of times she would get argumentative in front of patients, which is super unprofessional. Like, and that just made me look at her differently, because it's like, why are you treating your employees like that? And oftentimes, let's say there was an issue with a patient, or the phone got disconnected, or whatever, she would always pick the patient over the employee. And that really upset me, and that really made me not want to be a part of that environment, because what kind of manager doesn't trust the people that they hire, you know? It was kind of a toxic work environment for me, which is a little different from other people's experiences. But I understand a lot of people saying, like, let's be real here, it's kind of tense because it is a dentist. We are working a lot of times holidays and like longer shifts. People are tired and aggravated, and they're dealing with all types of patients all day, so it can get a little tense in there. I mean, it had its moments. It wasn't all bad. It definitely had its moments. Like during Christmas time, the head doctor gave us all like a check for our Christmas gifts and chocolates and stuff, and took us to dinner, and I thought that was super sweet. And during different holidays, she'll like order pizza, or different patients will bring us candy, or like different things like that. It was super cute. Like little stuff like that made it kind of incentivize me to stay. But at the end, I ultimately couldn't stay because of the toxic work environment, and like I was constantly not wanting to go to work or waking up feeling dread. So that's why I stopped going. But overall, again, this is like, depends on the situation, depends on the place and the people. But just be prepared for the atmosphere to sometimes feel competitive or sometimes feel tense. And if it ever feels toxic, then maybe you should leave. So uniform wise, it was business casual. But we also had to wear this red blazer every day that she purchased. So like, I think part of the job said that we got like a 25 or plus allowance for clothes, which would have been very useful because I didn't own anything business casual. I'm coming off of retail and fast food, so I didn't own anything business casual like that. And it would have been useful to get that money used towards clothing, because I ended up spending probably $150 on business casual wear. But she used that allowance money on blazers for everybody to match in the front. So if you worked in the receptionist area, you would have a blazer, and it was just like maroon color, and they got dirty, and it was just like, I don't know, I hate it. They were super uncomfy, like I hated it so much. But everybody thought we looked so, you know, cute together, so uniformed. But it honestly just was like, I guess something just to make us look similar. But other than that, there wasn't really any uniform. I know different establishments have things like, I've went to dentists where they wear like jeans and t-shirts, which I would have loved. Now I'm gonna get into what a lot of people come here for, the pay and the benefits. This is also going to vary based on what state you're in, based on, you know, the status of the dentistry, things like that. But at the location I was at when I applied, she was offering $16 an hour. But I had just applied for another position and I hadn't heard back from them yet, and they were offering $19 an hour. So I let her know this information. I'm like, hey, I did just apply for another position that's paying 19, so if I could, like, you know, get a competitive rate or whatever, that would be great. So I negotiated that during, like, you know, what are your expectations during the interview and stuff like that. So honestly, advocate for yourself prior to even starting, so they know what they're getting into when they deal with you, you know. So we agreed on 16 for the first month while I'm getting trained, and then 18 after that. But a lot of positions, a lot of these dental receptionist positions are typically offering, at least in my area, which is upstate New York, anywhere from $15 to $19 an hour, depending on the establishment, but that's mostly the average over here. My benefits, outside of the little, you know, like pizza parties or like lunch she would buy us, or gifts for Christmas, or like a card or something for your birthday, she typically, there was not a lot of benefits there. Like, there was health insurance, but she would ask if you already had health insurance, and I guess you already had it, she probably wouldn't offer it. But like, I don't know, there was pretty much not really a lot of benefits for me. There was like no 401k. There was obviously a discount on dental stuff. That was pretty much it. There was no other benefits to it. Like, would I go back and would I do it again? I wouldn't go back to that particular practice, but I probably would work in that field again if I had to. But I definitely do think if you're just getting your feet wet into the clerical world and like the 9-to-5 corporate girly jobs, this isn't a bad job to start with, because I think it's a little bit more lenient than a typical corporate job. Like, it's not like a business firm, it's not like a call center, so it's not super strict. But it also depends on the practice, because technically she was kind of strict, but I just kind of did my own thing because I'm me. But it's definitely a good starter corporate job for sure. And technically it's not corporate, it's healthcare. Oh, that's another thing, you get a healthcare bonus because it is healthcare. So if you worked a certain amount of hours semi-annually, you would get a bonus reflected on that. So I don't remember all the numbers of the statistics, but I think it was like starting from 500 and going up to 1500. So twice a year you would get that. So that's anywhere from a K to 3K a year on top of whatever you're getting paid, because you work in healthcare and you're putting your life at risk by exposing yourself to, you know, bodily fluids and COVID and other stuff. So that is another bonus, a part of that. But honestly, it's just like, if you have the patience and you like dealing with people, and you also like helping people, and on top of that you don't mind taking on a larger workload, especially with like bookkeeping and like financing and scheduling, then it's the job for you. Because honestly, once you kind of get into your own vibe, your own groove, in your own world, then you're cool. I don't know, this video is kind of all over the place, but I do hope that it helps someone who is applying to the position or already in the position and contemplating maybe looking for something else, or if they should stay there. I don't know. I hope this video helps. I hope this was educational, inspirational, whatever. And yeah, that was my experience working as a dental receptionist. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you for showing love all the time. Bye.